Hello, everybody. I'm back. Dr. Peter Glidden, fresh back from my trip to Trinidad, where I spent the last 3 days showing people the wisdom, so to speak, of medical nutrition. I lectured to about 200 people Saturday. I did private consultations. I got to know the Trinidadians, who were some of the nicest, most friendly, hospitable people I've ever met in 50-plus years on the planet. Had a wonderful time. And they sucked it up like thirsty people, people dying of thirst suck up water. This is a very interesting thing for me to observe. You know, I go all over the country, and now I'm starting to go internationally, taking Youngevity's message of health recovery through medical nutrition to a lot of different places on the planet. And it's interesting to me to see that some people are very much more open-minded and more accepting of our message than others. And in the United States, because of the brainwashing that's been happening here for the last 100 years, everybody is like a half-awake, half-asleep zombie genuflecting at the altar of medical nutrition, of MD-directed pharmaceutical medicine. People just unconsciously believe and have been trained to believe that their MD knows what's best for them, and we have to drag them into the light of medical nutrition, but not in Trinidad. In Trinidad, they already knew that conventional medicine was ineffective. They already knew. They were already frustrated. They had already had it. And they were much, more intellectually keen, much more open to the truth. And like the fella said, when you've realized the truth, you're in its velvet grasp forever. I had a great time, and you mark my words. The people in Trinidad are going to change. The people that I lectured to last Saturday in Trinidad are going to change the way that medicine is practiced in Trinidad within the next couple of years. Our message is going to spread like wildfire there. Why? Because we get results. And people talk about it. People are in pain. People are suffering. People need to know what to do. And in a community like that, a family-oriented, community-oriented community of open-minded individuals, it doesn't get any better than that. So hats off to you, Trinidad. You're the best group I've lectured to in the last 3.5 years. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know it's Tuesday. You know what that means, Testimonial Tuesday. So we are lucky and fortunate to have with us today a woman named Shar Murphy. She's been one of Dr. Wallach's most faithful supporters. I've been with Dr. Wallach from the very beginning, before the Youngevity Company even existed. She has spent more time in more venues in the last 17, 20 years with Dr. Wallach than anybody else on the planet. She has seen it all, and she's here to give us a little insider information, share a little bit of her experience with us today. I am very happy to have with us Miss Charmaine Murphy. Charmaine, thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, no problem. It's a pleasure.
All right, so speak up a little bit, Char. You're a little bit low on the volume, or adjust your headset if you can, please. Yeah, that's better. We've got you.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now, you've been with Doc for how many years?
Over 21 years.
21 years, and you've been with Doc lecturing in venues all over the U.S. and all over Canada for the last 21 years, right?
Yes.
So from your perspective, you must have seen firsthand thousands of testimonials of people following Dr. Wallach's advice and recovering their health. I mean, thousands, right?
Oh, absolutely. And some very dramatic ones, too, yeah.
So share with the listening audience, if you could, some of the more dramatic health turnarounds you have actually witnessed yourself.
Okay, up in Moose Jaw, Canada, there was a gentleman named Derek Dietrich, and he had MS so bad that he could hardly walk. He took baby steps and couldn't hardly talk, hands flaring all over. And Dr. Wallach, his wife came in and said, what can I do for him? And Dr. Wallach put him on our products and told him to eat a high-fat diet, lots of eggs. 3 months later, we come back there, and the guy walks across the room and shakes hands with Doc like there's nothing wrong with him. And he got up and told everybody how many thousand eggs he had ate in the last 3 months. And for all practical purposes, he was completely well, not on any medication either. He refused to take the medication. That was that one. Then there's a Reverend Kreider in South Chicago, and he had a bracelet on for a heart transplant. And he said, him and his wife met us in a hotel in Indiana, and he said, don't be offended, but if this bracelet goes off, I'm out of here. I'm going to get my new heart. And he got on our products, and within a week, his bracelet was taken away from him because he didn't need a heart transplant anymore.
It's remarkable, isn't it? I mean, the hits just keep on coming. Give us some more.
Marvin Roth is another distributor of ours, and he's an ex-Navy SEAL and an ex-Amish gentleman, and he goes back to his Amish roots in Indiana, in 3 counties in Indiana. There's no selenium in the soil, and half of these Amish women have children that have muscular dystrophy. And the oldest one's name was Amos, and he had been in a wheelchair for over 20 years, and within 3 months he's up walking already. They've been given the information to Jerry Lewis, so, and apparently as a matter of fact, he was, wanting to investigate all this and talk to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and wanted to have a cure before he retired because he's getting up there in years. And they probably said something to him like, well, Jerry, we can't have a cure because then we can't collect money for research anymore, so we can never have a cure. And they sent him on a cruise. And Doc tells this story at all the meetings. And we were up toward the end of April. We were in a meeting at the Aurora Library, which is in Aurora, Ontario, just a little bit north of Toronto. Doc is telling this story about Jerry Lewis. And the gentleman in the audience piped up and said, I know Jerry Lewis, and that's exactly what happened.
Unbelievable. So it's crazy. So let me get this straight. Doc goes to a community in southern Indiana of the Amish where there's a disproportionately high number of children born with muscular dystrophy, right?
Sometimes half of the kids, yeah.
And the reason is that the Amish don't eat like everybody else. They don't shop at grocery stores and get food from all over the world. They only eat the food that they grow. And so because their soil was completely depleted in the mineral selenium, all of the women who got pregnant, their bodies were deficient in selenium. And so as the child is developing in utero, muscular dystrophy is the result of chromosomal damage from lack of selenium. So there are hundreds of kids in the Amish community who have muscular dystrophy. One of them was in a wheelchair for 20 years. Dr. Wallach goes down, gives a free lecture, tells the parents what to do for the kids, tells the older kids what to do for themselves, and within 3 months, that kid Amos was up out of his wheelchair walking around. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep, that's what happened.
I know, it's unbelievable the things that the body will do when you give it proper nutrition. I remember I was with Dr. Wallach in New York, and there was a rather wealthy gentleman from New York City that came to one of Dr. Wallach's lectures. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Steve, his name was. He was 78 at the time, and we were going to Chicago, as a matter of fact, 2 years ago this spring, and Dr. Wallach is telling me that this gentleman had an aortic aneurysm that was inoperable, and he did what Doc said on his tape, that doctors don't lie, and cured himself because the doctors at the hospital told him to go home and get his house in order because he could die that night. He said he was almost killed by a doctor, and it happened to be his best friend, so he was scared to go to the hospital, scared to go to the doctor. But he got better, got over his aneurysm, which they said was inoperable, by just taking our products and doing what Doc said. And so his younger brother is almost young enough to be his son. His younger brother, Joey, is 60 years old. And he said to his brother, he said, you got to find this Dr. Wallach because I want to go buy him dinner and thank him for saving my life. So Doc is telling me, we're going to Chicago to meet you, right? Yeah. And he says, he's told me the story, we got this guy better, and he's going to come. He's flying from New York to Chicago to buy us dinner to thank me for saving his life. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to happen. And sure enough, he come in a limousine from the airport, buy us dinner, all of us. and went back. And so the next time we went to New York, he bought us tickets to a Broadway show, which I had never been to a Broadway show in my life, the Jersey Boys, which was fun. And then last fall we went there, and his younger brother, Joey, he said, stand outside your hotel. My brother's picking you up in his limo, his stretch limo. You can't miss it because it's bright red. And I'm thinking, well, I'm looking for a Lincoln because they're all Lincolns, right? And here comes this red stretch Rolls-Royce limo.
Wow.
I had never ridden in a Rolls-Royce in my life, let alone a stretch limo.
Wow.
Rolls-Royce. So I've being in the mineral business has exposed me to a lot of stuff that I never would have ever met these people in my life had I not been involved in this mineral business. It's completely changed my life for the better. It's broadened my horizons. It's made me meet a lot of people, nice people. The guy's got a lot of money, probably more than Donald Trump, but you never heard of him. But he's just a sweetheart of a guy. He really is.
Isn't that something? Now, Shar, you've been with Doc for forever, and, of course, you had the wisdom years ago to become a business builder with Longevity. And was that a smart move on your part?
Oh, yeah. I'm a high school graduate. I took a welding course after high school, and I've never taken any kind of medical courses or anything, and I was always interested in anti-aging. And when I met Dr. Wallach, he had different answers to things I had questioned, and I made a gut choice to listen and believe what he said, and I'm glad I did. My sister and I both are glad we did, because who knows, we might not even be above ground right now had we not listened to him.
Truer words have never been spoken. Charmaine, regretfully, we are all out of time. Thank you for calling. Thank you for your testimony. But more importantly, thank you for everything that you've done for the Longevity family and the Longevity community. If it wasn't for the pioneers like you, I might not be where I am today. Thank you so much. We don't have a free medical market here. We never have. Well, you can argue that in the 1800s there was a somewhat free medical market, but it ain't the 1800s anymore. If you're happy with taking prescription pharmaceutical, synthetic drugs to suppress, override, and control the metabolism of your body, God bless you. If you're sick and frustrated with conventional MD treatments and want to try to figure it out yourself on the Internet, God bless you. If you would like advice from medical professionals trained in the holistic method, who offer science-based, clinically verified alternatives to drugs and surgery, then you've come to exactly the right place. Our message is simple. Fire your MD. Fire your MD now. Do not visit anybody with an MD unless you're bleeding to death or have some type of trauma to your body or are suffering from an infectious disease that you have not been able to get on the other side of with holistic medicine. That's the only thing they're good for. And surgery, when it's necessary, most of the time it's not necessary, as was evidenced by that testimonial of Reverend Kreider in South Chicago waiting for a heart transplant that he avoided by nutrifying his body, changing his diet, and taking the 90 essential nutrients. Imagine that. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The only reason we suffer and die here in such large numbers is because we go to the wrong medical professionals for help. Because we don't know there's anybody else, because our insurance won't pay for anything else, and because the MDs have convinced you with a 100-year on-purpose propaganda machine that I'm a quack, that I'm selling snake oil, when exactly the opposite is true. MD-directed medical treatments are the leading cause of death in the United States. And drugs that are approved by the FDA for your use, labeled safe and effective, are pulled off the shelf. They kill people. Class action lawsuits are generated. You know, there's currently over 50. Look it up. There's over 50 class action lawsuits against drugs and the manufacturers of drugs that were approved by the FDA. Over 50. And I'm the quack. I'm the snake oil salesman? I don't think so. You know how many people died from vitamins last year? 0. You know how many people died because they went to see an MD with a chronic health condition? Over 780,000. And yet when we get sick, we march right up to their altar and open our hearts and let them stick the knife right in every single day. Stop it. Snap out of it. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance. Buy catastrophic medical insurance instead, and use the difference to support and promote your health with good diet and good nutritional supplements. It's that easy. Because remember, 2 myths that we're suffering from. Myth number 1, the MD is the undisputed owner of everything medical. Myth number 2, healing is complicated and sophisticated. It's not. Surgery is complicated. Healing is easy. And this is the fundamental difference between the holistic method and the allopathic reductionistic method. The MDs are trained to believe that once you're sick, you're screwed, and the only alternative that you have is to cut it out or manage the situation with synthetic drugs that override the innate workings of the human body and control it synthetically with drugs. Holistic physicians know that the human body has a built-in God-given ability to fix itself. Your body wants to fix itself, and all that it needs most of the time is the proper nutrition to do it. Helping you recover your health, we're going straight to the phones. I believe we have Adrian. Yo, Adrian. How can I help?
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I actually spoke with you about 2 weeks ago. I spent about an hour on the phone with you. You gave me some great information, and you set me up on the longevity products. But since then, I have had major diarrhea for the last week and a half.
Okay.
I'm wanting to know what I need to do to fix that, and also if I've been possibly losing all the longevity products or not maintaining enough of it because of that.
Okay, great. I'm really glad you called. That's an excellent question. You know, probably 30-40% of the people that start with us have that experience, and here's why. And this is a very important thing to understand. It's a very important thing to dial in, and it's a very important thing to fix, all right? Now, here's how it goes in the architecture of the human digestive tract. We've got the mouth, the throat, and then the stomach, and then the small intestines, and then the large intestine or the colon. The small intestines are where everything gets absorbed into your bloodstream. It's your stomach's job to break, then your mouth, then your teeth. It's their job to break the food molecules down into smaller and smaller bit-sized pieces. And then it's mostly the job that your small intestine does a little bit of digestion, but mostly what it does is absorption. It's the small intestine's job to absorb all of those nutrients and calories and sugars into the bloodstream to support and promote the health of your body. The colon, or the large intestine, is where everything ends up that the body could not use. And it's the colon's job to accumulate, concentrate, and eliminate waste products, right? So we poop, go to the bathroom, and life is good. In one end, out the other. When we eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, which everybody does in the United States, and quite frankly everywhere in the world now, we are wheat crazy, and this is a problem because Betty Crocker was not a doctor. When we eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, those proteins in those grains slowly but surely whittle away at the structural integrity of the small intestine. And as time goes by, the tissue in the small intestine that absorbs nutrients becomes destroyed simply by eating whole grains, simply by eating the pizza, simply by eating the whole wheat sandwich, simply by eating the bagel that you thought was good for you, simply by eating the pasta. Oh, that's got to be the healthiest meal in the world, pasta with olive oil, right? Well, wrong. When we eat those foods regularly, it's like the straws breaking the camel's back, and they whittle away at the health of the small intestine, and they actually destroy the tissue in the small intestine that absorbs nutrients. Now, you finally get frustrated with conventional medicine. You want to get your health back. You call Dr. Glidden, Dr. Wallach up. You talk to some longevity representative who has a clue. They tell you to take the Healthy Start Pack, and so you order it. And in the Healthy Start Pack, there is a concentrated multivitamin, multi-mineral, multi-amino acid supplement called Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I'm assuming, Adrian, that that's the thing you were taking. You were taking that red powder. Is that right?
Correct. You had me actually drinking it in 32 ounces of water all morning and all afternoon. In fact, I've got it sitting right here next to me. I'm still sipping on it.
All right, good man. Now, do you have a history of being allergic to shellfish?
No.
So you've never had an allergy or an allergic reaction to shrimp or to lobster, right?
No, I have had in the past I've had a problem with actually going to the bathroom, but not the reverse where we're at now.
Perfect. Okay, so one of the first thing, there's a saying in medicine, right? You hear hoofbeats, you think about horses before you think about zebras. Well, when you have someone with chronic constipation, the first thing that I think about is tissue destruction from wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So it was probably your lifetime exposure to wheat, barley, rye, and oats that has been compromising the health of your GI tract. But you've got it bad, Adrian, because here's why. When you swallow that concentrated red powder, which is like the cornerstone of our nutritional support program, and your intestinal tract's ability to absorb things is compromised, you're going to swallow it, it's going to go down the hatch, and maybe 20% of what you're drinking, and I'm making numbers up here, is getting absorbed. Maybe it's 50%, maybe it's 70%, I don't know, but it's not 100%, because some of the nutrients in that red drink are slipping past your small intestine and ending up in your colon or your large intestine. Now, there ought to be any nutrients at all in your large intestine, and when there are, the vitamin C especially, and some of the other vitamins and amino acids in that red powder excite the tissue in your large intestine or your colon, and you have diarrhea. So anybody that gets loose stool or diarrhea after they start our program, that is 100% diagnostic for an intolerance to wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So it is imperative, man, that you don't even look at wheat, barley, rye, and oats anymore in your life, because the chances are extremely high that those foods are the root cause of this problem with absorption in your small intestine. So we got to do a workaround, man. And I got to tell you something. If the 2 scoops of the red powder in 32 ounces of water, drinking slowly over the course of a couple of hours, which is what you're doing, if that dilute of a dose is giving you diarrhea and loose stool, then as Sherlock Holmes would say, the game is afoot. And, on a relative scale of things, your intestinal tract is in trouble. So there's only 2 things to do here. We either need to switch out the Beyond Tangy Tangerine to a different product, or what I would recommend that you do first is stop the red powder. Keep taking everything else, but stop the red Beyond Tangy Tangerine powder for 72 hours. Stop it for 3 days in a row. Just don't take it anymore. And then starting on then the diarrhea will go away. Then, starting on day 4, I want you to take it in a much more dilute dose. So, take 1 scoop in 32 ounces of water, okay? And, or whatever you're comfortable with. You need to play around with the dilution of this stuff in order to dial in a dosage that is not going to give you loose and runny stools. And, the idea here is kind of we want to pour it in a little bit at a time and give your tissues a greater chance of absorbing it, right? And I don't know what that ratio is going to be. Maybe it's going to be 1 ounce in 32 ounces of water, or 1 scoop in 32 ounces. Maybe it's going to be half a scoop in 18 ounces. I don't know what it's going to be, man. You're just going to have to play around and modify that dose until you find a dose that doesn't do that. If you cannot do that, if that does not happen, then what I would recommend is you switch out the Beyond Tangy Tangerine when you place your next order to a product called Tropical Plus. Tropical Plus. Get 1 bottle of Tropical Plus, and the dosage there is 1 ounce per 100 pounds of body weight per day. And again, with the Tropical Plus and with any longevity liquid supplement, I would recommend that you dilute it. So put 1 ounce of the Tropical Plus if you need to go that route, and 4, 5, 6 ounces of water. See how your body handles that, and so forth and so on. It's the dilution of the red powder that's the problem here. But the only reason that's a problem is because your digestive tract has been compromised severely, and I'm choosing my words carefully, by, too much wheat, barley, rye, and oats in your life. So my recommendation is 100% gluten-free, 100% of the time. Screw around with the dilution schedule after you've stopped the red powder for 3 days, and that would put us at Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So give me a call back next Monday or Tuesday with an update, and please call me back, Adrian, with good news or bad news, because most people just call me with bad news, right? So once this works, I want you to call me back and report. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely appreciate it.
All right, Adrian. Listen, man, I appreciate your persistence. You got to give yourself a big gold star here for trusting me, even though, the program's giving you a loose stool. You hung in there, baby, and that's a real testament to your character, I would say. So keep it up. Keep up the good work. Knowledge is power. We just got to switch it up a little bit, because when we dial in, ladies and gentlemen, a medical nutrition program that is perfect for you, there's no symptoms. There's no negative symptoms. Nothing bad happens. There's no diarrhea, no gas, no constipation, no upset stomach, no nothing. You just feel better. So that's what we're working for. Adrian, thanks for the call. Thanks for the support. Billy, if you're still with us, I think you have a question about the ASAP diet. You are live with Dr. Glidden. Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor. I called you last week, and I told you I've been doing the good food, bad food diet. I got into the tangy tangerine, had the same problem that the previous caller had the same exact thing. I'm doing fine as far as that regard.
So what did you do, Billy? How did you fix that?
I did exactly what you said. I diluted it and took it nice and easy, whereas I was just gulping it down in one, just sticking it in a glass, mixing it up, and now I put it in a shaker bottle, and I just kind of drink it over a couple of hours, and then I do it again, and then drink it over the next few hours. And in the course of a day, I pretty much get all I'm supposed to. But, I wanted to tell you right off, Doc, that if next time you do an appearance or whatever, if you're anywhere near Kansas City, you see a black guy come up to you and give you a hug.
Oh, Billy, we lost you. There we are. Yeah, we lost your signal for a minute there, Billy. You still with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, Billy, you're going away. We've got a bad signal here.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. That's better.
Okay, I was telling you, hey, if you're anywhere near Kansas City and you're doing a talk and you see a guy, a black guy come out of nowhere and gives you a hug, it's me, and let me tell you why. I've been suffering from high blood pressure ever since I got out of the Army 12 years ago. They've had me on the maximum dosage of 3 different drugs, and my blood pressure was still high in just 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks of doing the good food, bad food diet and doing the Healthy Start Pack, my blood pressure is almost normal, and that's never happened to me. I mean, I bought a blood pressure cup, just like you said. I've been checking it, and it's been dropping every day. I've been doing the deep breathing exercises from Pharmacist Ben, and I've been using everything you told me to use. And I don't know if I'm ready for it or not, but I was looking at the ASAP diet, and I was wondering, it called for Melba toast in there, and I Googled it, and it looks like this stuff has gluten in it. So I'm wondering, is that a misprint or is that
all right, very, very good. So first of all, excellent job. And here's what you need to know about the blood pressure real quick. We're running out of time here. I'm up against a hard break, so stick on the line, Billy, and I'll walk you through the rest of this on the other end. But as the blood pressure comes down, you either need to withdraw from your blood pressure meds yourself, or you need to do that with a pharmacist's, recommendation. Because as my program normalizes your blood pressure, if you're taking a blood pressure med, it's going to make your blood pressure too low, and that's dangerous. So remember, the goal here is to get you so healthy that you don't need any of your prescription medicines. In the blood pressure realm, that's the next thing for you to dial in, is how to come off of your blood pressure meds safely, all right? We're talking to Billy. So, Billy, the first thing here is to dial in a reduction schedule for the blood pressure meds. And once you have a reduction schedule, you want to ride that horse to the end, all right? You've got a schedule. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. Stay on it. And don't get off of it, because when you start messing around with the prescription medication dosages, you kick up a lot of dust, number one. Number two, the ASAP program is an interesting thing to talk about. And ladies and gentlemen, the ASAP program ASAP is a cute little acronym developed by the product developers. It stands for as slim as possible in this case. And this was a company that Youngevity acquired 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. And Youngevity is so financially successful and has products which produce such remarkably consistent results that in the business world, the Youngevity company is like a black hole in space. I don't know if you know anything about astronomy, but you're about to. Black holes are collapsed stars with intense gravitational fields. Man, if you're within 1,000,000 miles of a black hole, it's going to suck you in. It's like a gigantic cosmic vacuum cleaner, right? Well, that's what the Youngevity company's like. The Youngevity company is so successful and so financially solid and so dialed in that every year it acquires, it sucks up 2 or 3 or 4 different network marketing companies. And when we bring them into the fold, everything's better for everybody. It's a win-win situation. And this is the way that it happened with the ASAP company, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. But the problem is, as the cultures merge, as the ASAP culture merges with the Youngevity culture, there's stuff, quite a bit of stuff, that the ASAP people didn't know about Dr. Wallach's health message. So it's going to take a little bit of a while for both companies to be using the same playbook, right? And so that's where the discrepancy with the Melba Toast thing came in. So, the ASAP program people will tell you to eat whole wheat bread and complex carbohydrates and this, that, or the other thing as part of their diet. That's all going to be changed. They're aware that that needs to be changed. They're in the process of making those changes in the back office, So you're the smartest man in class today, Billy, because you noticed that. So what we recommend, of course, when you do the ASAP program is follow their dietary advice to the exclusion, but whenever they recommend gluten, have something that's gluten-free instead in its place. And that's all going to be dialed in shortly so that there won't be any more confusion. That's a good point. The other thing about the ASAP program, and this is, again, is an important thing to understand. The ASAP program really works, and it accelerates weight loss. It accelerates the weight loss of the human body. I know people that we had one on just last week, Victoria from Denver. She lost a pound a day, and that she's not alone. This program accelerates weight loss, but here's the deal. A lot of the toxic crap that we're exposed to from just living in, the modern day world, loaded with pollution everywhere, a lot of the toxic crap that we breathe in, drink in, and just absorb from walking down the street, our body sticks away in fatty tissue to get it the heck out of circulation because it doesn't know what to do with it. So when you start to burn fat, it's like stirring up a hornet's nest, and you're going to liberate all these nasty chemicals and exogenous compounds that will hurt your body. Now, your body has mechanisms to neutralize and detoxify those compounds, and one of the main things it does, it rips the molecules apart in your liver. But in order to do that, the body needs nutrients. When you liberate toxic stuff from fat because you burned fat, you must have the proper nutrition to handle the extra load. So what I recommend, first we nutrify for 3 months minimum. We nutrify the body for 3 months with the Healthy Start Pack and, the good food, bad food diet and, the essential nutrients. And then once your body's been nutrified and you're starting to get on the other side of your health complaints, then we can detoxify. We don't detoxify first. We don't detoxify too quickly. We save it. We save it for the icing on the cake. So I wouldn't even worry about doing an accelerated weight loss program until August. So keep doing what you're doing. Get off the blood pressure meds first. You're going to lose a pound a week anyway on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I'm talking to you tomorrow, and it's New Product Wednesday. Don't miss it.